Oh,
Yeah, that's good. It says it's recording.
let's pause.
Together. Thank you so much for joining us on our Chat With series, as we have been doing these for several months now. We're very excited about today's coping with the holidays during COVID. If you would, if you have not already, please go ahead and mute yourself. That'll save us some background noise. And if you have a question, feel free to put that in the chat at any time, and Ellen will read those out later. But after we finish with the talk, there'll be some time to ask questions if you would like to ask a question yourself. And so I will turn it over to Miss Ellen to do our introductions, and we will get started.
Thank you so much. It's really great to see so many of you here today on this really important topic. My name is Ellen Fitz. I'm with Aging Together. And it's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Tom Schaefer, who is a nationally certified counselor providing professional and affordable counseling in Orange County, right here in our region. He oversees Worthmore Counseling, a religious nonprofit offering affordable mental health to underserved persons. He also directs counseling at Living Water Community Free Clinic. He has 40 years of experience, pastoral experience, including 20 years as senior pastor at Lake of the Woods Church. You know, many people today are seeking affordable counseling for anxiety and depression. Restrictions to contain COVID-19 are wearing down the mental health and emotional reserves of many people. And I think we all know this to be true. People that we may know of in our personal lives or in our work, in our careers, in our professional lives. I think everybody can relate to that. The holidays are a time we normally look forward to for rest and refreshment with family and friends. But this year's holidays really present some new challenges. So how can we thrive under the COVID-19 pandemic? And thank you so much, Reverend Schaefer. I'm going to share the slides now, hopefully.
All right.
And then you can just let me know as you want to advance them.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ellen, and good afternoon to each of you who've tuned in, and thank you for inviting me. We do live in an exceedingly stressful time, and I think everybody feels it. There's no one exempt. And part of that stress is COVID-19. And now that we have two major holidays, family holidays around the corner, there's lots of expectations that come around travel or gatherings or food. And COVID-19 may impact the plans of many for this much needed social refreshment. Various studies, and I'll cite just two very briefly, cite the impact of COVID on older adults. First, the Kaiser Foundation reports that 25% of adults over age 65 have significant anxiety or depression, twice the number as before COVID. Second study, University of Michigan, reports that 56% of people over the age of 50 feel isolated, and 40% cite a lack of social companionship. So it's affecting a lot of people severely. How can we manage our anxiety and find enjoyment in the holidays, even though COVID is with us? The first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about anxiety and what it is, so we know what we're dealing with. A working definition of anxiety is this, and if you do this working definition, you will be anxious. You may be the calmest person on earth, but if you do the two things in the definition, you will absolutely become anxious. You can't help it. You can't stop it. Anxiety is the interplay between two perceptions. First, the overestimation of threat. And second, the underestimation of my resources. If you overestimate your threat, your risk, your danger, your difficulty, if you overestimate it, at the same time, underestimate your resources, whether it's personal or otherwise, to deal with this threat, you will become anxious. That's what anxiety is, these two perceptions working in tandem. So anxiety is essentially a faulty perception. It's an unrealistic or unbalanced perception of reality. These faulty perceptions are repeated so much that they become ingrained, and we become caught up with them, and that's what anxiety is. We become anxious. So I know it's getting a little technical here, but stay with me. You're going to see where this is helpful. Since anxiety is a faulty perception or an unrealistic or inaccurate way of thinking that becomes ingrained and automatic, then we will become less anxious if we have accurate perceptions of our threats and our risks and accurate perceptions of our resources to deal with them. If we have this accuracy, we will invariably become less anxious. Are you still with me? I hope. Let's say a person says, I get anxious thinking about what could happen. What if this happens, or what if that happens? It makes me anxious even to think about it. So we need to push back. Let's go to slide 2, Ellen. We need to push back on our anxious thinking. I would ask the person some good questions. Ask myself the same questions. What is the worst that could happen? Let's face it. Let's say it. What is the very best that could happen? Let's not only be negative, but positive. What is the likely thing to happen? And what would you do if the most likely thing to happen did happen? Where would you start? Well, I guess I would do this or that. Well, as soon as you start down that path of solution, the anxiety will begin to come down a bit when you accurately assess what is your threat and your resource. So we have to practice pushing back against unrealistic runaway perceptions. Here's another example. A person says, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Something good happens. I tell myself something bad is bound to happen now. Bad things always happen, and it makes me anxious. Even if something good is happening, something bad's going to happen, and I get anxious. Well, we have to mentally push back if we want to be less anxious. So how would a person like this push back and be less anxious? We could ask them this good question. If everything is either good or bad, of course it's not, but anxious thinking paints pictures in black and white. If everything is either good or bad, what is the probability that two good things will happen in a row? It's 50%. What's the probability of two bad things happening in a row? 50%. What is the probability of a good thing being followed by a bad thing? 50%. So good and bad things always are happening. It's normal. It's part of life. And furthermore, are good things completely bad and bad things completely, are good things completely good and are bad things completely bad? Of course not. Aren't most things a mixture of good and bad? So instead of fearing normal life, we can just accept it and make the best of both good and bad things that come our way. If you begin to think this realistic way, your anxiety will come down. Will it go away? Well, that depends on a lot of factors I won't get into, but you'll be going in the right direction. Ellen, would you put up slide 3? So what I'm saying is you lower anxiety by pushing back with realistic thinking and positive messages And secondly, by accepting life and making the best of it. So we have to push back in the right way, don't we? Let's go to slide 4. And I want to look here going forward at some other anxiety reducers. This applies whether we're talking about holiday seasons or all year round. Okay, another anxiety reducer is deep breathing, slide number 5. Deep breathing. At the slightest hint of tension or stress, fill your lungs up as full as you can and slowly let the air out. In fact, why don't you just do that now? You don't have to be overcome by anxiety to be helped by deep breathing. And you should at least do this 3 or 4 or 5 times. Just breathe in all the life you can and breathe out all the stress you can. See, when we are anxious, our breath gets shallow and more rapid. Deep breathing puts air in the bottom of your lungs where it's most effective. Anxiety speeds you up and makes your breathing shallow. Deep breathing will slow you down. It will lower your blood pressure and will put more oxygen to your brain. Simple, but effective if it's done early on. If you wait to deep breathe until you're in a panic attack, it is too late. You must deep breathe early on. Still do it, but it's much more effective early on. So I probably practice deep breathing, oh my goodness, every 20 or 30 minutes. And it really is effective when you begin to practice it. Slide 6, if you would, Alan. Another reducer beyond deep breathing is what's called in the counseling field getting grounded. Use this whenever you have especially intrusive thoughts or thoughts that just go on in your mind and you can't get rid of them, around and around, you ruminate. So use getting grounded when your anxiety is arising, especially intrusive thoughts. Getting grounded involves engaging your 5 senses, one at a time, and all of them if you can. For example, you say, how would I ever engage my 5 senses? While you are breathing slowly but deeply, listen to the air going in and out your nose. That engages one more sense. As you're deep breathing, caress your face like this or your hands like this for the sense of touch. And as you are, focus your sight on a singular object and stare at it and notice the details of that object more than you ever have before. And if you're able, place something that you can smell on the tip of your nose, even if it's perfume or whatever, to activate your sense of smell, and maybe a mint or something tart or in your mouth for taste. And you say, well, Tom, this seems a little childish or simplistic. All I can say is it works. It works. Your brain is wired to pay priority attention to your 5 senses. And if you find yourself with intrusive thoughts or ruminating thoughts, and you can't let go of them, if you feed your brain with 5 senses, your brain will let go of the thoughts and focus on the senses because it's wired to do that. It's a priority your brain has is the 5 senses. And your irrational thoughts will begin to diminish as you get grounded. Your anxiety will lessen. So, well, I know when I was first taught this technique, I laughed, I scoffed. But actually, as simple as it is, it's scientifically based and it's extremely helpful. Slide number 7, the last tip I want to give under realistic thinking is mental imagery. When you're anxious, go to a safe and happy place that you create in your imagination. There's no COVID there, okay? There's lots of things there that you don't want. You are the one that is in charge of putting any and everything there. Envision this place in detail. Use the same place every time you do mental imagery. Go to the same place and it'll get fuller and fuller of detail as you do. Some would go to the seaside. That's where I would go. Others to the mountains. I know some who go to a hiding place they had when they were a child, a place that is safe and beautiful and secure. Fill in the picture, the mental image, with all 5 senses. In your safe, happy place, what color is the sky? What shade of blue is it? Can you smell the breeze? How hard is it blowing against your skin? Fill the picture in completely with all 5 senses and let the beauty of it sweep over you and relax you. Again, something simple, and I probably, because I'm a fairly rational person with an engineering background, I kind of scoffed at this when I first heard it, but believe me, I'm a devoted follower today. So, okay, let me move on to some other things to stay positive and enjoy the holiday more. Slide number 8. Exercise. You've heard this too often. Exercise and movement is good. Just try 5 or 10 minutes of stretching. That would do wonders. Take a walk for 20 minutes or whatever you can walk. Some people practice yoga and find it great help. Try low-impact cardio. Google the free exercise videos on the web. Have you found them yet? There's probably one that'll fit you. The importance of getting off the couch and getting your body moving cannot be overstated. It will certainly elevate your mood, as well as do some other positive things. So I'll move on. I don't like to be preached at by telling me to exercise either, but just think of it as movement. Slide number 9, stay positive through mindfulness. Perhaps you've never heard the word mindfulness. There's a million hits on the internet if you look. It is the current rage of people who are trying to help others with their moods or anxieties. Mindfulness involves focusing your attention on the present moment, not what happened before or what's going to happen next, but right now, be in the moment and accept what's going on without judging it. Just, it is what it is, and you're in it, and you're experiencing it. There's not enough time for me today to go over the strategies in mindfulness, but it's where you accept reality and not judge it. And slide number 10, there are 3 sites that might help you learn more about mindfulness. One is the Mayo Clinic, and they have that's the name of the article, Tips for Mindfulness and Coping with Anxiety. You'll find it very helpful in learning about mindfulness. The Mass Memorial Clinic Center for Mindfulness is another good resource. And while it's not on the slide, Johns Hopkins also is a good resource. Just go to those sites, look up mindfulness, and you'll find a lot of material there. It's very practical. Another way to stay positive in the holidays, and I don't have a slide on this, Alan, but it's called meditation. There are many types, and they basically all try to calm down your thoughts. And I'll give you 2 websites. I don't have a slide, but one is called Calm, C-A-L-M, Calm, that's all. Type in that, and the other is called Headspace. It's one word, Calm and Headspace. They give you tips on how to meditate. Slide number 11, do some meaningful things with your free time. You might have more free time than you've ever had with COVID. You might have too much free time, but put it to meaningful work. Listen to the audiobooks from your library. If you don't know how to get hooked up with your library and download audiobooks, ask your grandchildren, because they do know, and they would probably be tickled to death to help you. Some people enjoy journaling in their free time, just writing about their thoughts and feelings in their day. You can share it with others or keep it private. Some people play puzzles and games. Take an online course. Most of them are pass-fail. Don't be too intimidated. Just take an online course. Keep your brain active. Cook something new. Do crafts. And my best advice, listen to the news a bit less. They never put much good on there. I've never calmed down listening to the news. I can't hear anybody laughing, but so it's odd speaking to the camera, but I know I go on a news break every once in a while, I feel much better. Slide number 12. Yes, work to maintain social networks. And it is work. If you're waiting on the world to contact you, you might wait a long time. You've got to contact the world. So you should either call, email, or text, or visit 2 to 3 people every day. Really, you need to make contact. Again, if you don't know how to do this with video calls or other things, ask your grandchildren, they know how. Do random acts of kindness. Kindness will lift your spirits. Kindness will help get you through. And there's not enough kindness going around. And so why don't you add to it? And I say random acts. Maybe you don't know what to do. It doesn't really matter. Just be kind and do something. You don't even have to know the person. You do an act of kindness at least once a day, and it'll make your days better. The other thing is to volunteer in your local clubs or Aging Together or your church or someplace. I know there's less going on because of COVID, but call up your organization that you like and just ask them, is there any way I can volunteer? And you might be surprised they'll have something for you. Another thought about social networks is to maintain contact with your faith community. The main thing I'm trying to say is do everything you can to be in contact with other people. We really were made to be social, and we can't sit back and wait on it. We have to bring it to ourselves. And last of all, on slide 13, or next to last, I just wanted to give you, I'll talk a bit, and while this is up on your screen, these are all online supports. 7cups.com is free, and they also have a subscription. You can do it either way. It's a chat for emotional support. Emotionsanonymous.org, a non-professional group focusing on emotional well-being. They meet weekly. And if you say, oh, I've never done that before, well, start. COVID's a good time to do some new things because we need to learn to do new things. If you don't like it, you just hit the delete button. It doesn't matter. Go on to another one. But you might be surprised what's out there for you. Supportgroups.com lists every kind of support group known to man, and you might find a niche there. And virusanxiety.com, various articles and meditations that you could read to help bring health and calmness to yourself. And on the last slide, number 14, holiday health thoughts. I'm just going to review a few thoughts to get you thinking for yourself. Shopping. Now, some people enjoy shopping and they can do it, and that's good for them, but maybe you don't enjoy it, or maybe you can't get out, or you just don't want to be in a big box store around other people. Maybe it's not safe and you don't want to do it. Or you could go online. And if you say, well, I don't really like going online, I don't like giving my credit card numbers out or what have you, that's okay. I've got another idea that you can do. And that is to take time, because it is a gift of time. Take time to send each of your favorite people a special note that includes 2 ideas. In that note, whatever else you might write, tell that person your fondest memory of them. What do you remember about them? Have you ever done anything enjoyable, or what's your fondest memory of this person? And number 2, give a very generous affirmation of what you consider to be their best qualities. Put it in writing, give a little thought to it, put it in a card and send it to them in the mail. And I will tell you that this gift that you have given will be the most priceless and remembered gift of 2020 holiday season. Some have done that for me on occasions. It's rare, but it's happened, and I keep that card. I've thrown a lot of cards away, but I don't throw that one away because it was so heartfelt, and it told me about what they remember about me and how they affirmed my best qualities. So give a priceless gift. It won't cost a thing. Another thing is friendship. It's possible that some of you out there will not be able to spend holidays with the family for various reasons. I was thinking that maybe there's somebody else like that. Maybe there's someone that you could invite for a visit, whether it's virtual or in person. But maybe there's someone out there that will be alone for the holidays. I'm hoping you're not. I'm hoping you're proactive now to do what you can do. But if that's the way it is, then share it with another person who's alone, if you can. Another thought, healthy thought for the holidays, keep your faith traditions. Whether it's in person or virtual or any other way, keep your faith traditions and keep grounded. In fact, let me say this, create new traditions. If COVID has upset our old ways for a year, well, then we're going to fight back with some new ways. And create some new traditions in your family. Like that card I mentioned, might be a new way of giving. Create some new traditions. And last of all, if you're prone to cook some seasonal goodies, and if you're able, set them on a neighbor's doorstep, or tell them to come over, you have something, whatever. Share your wealth, your goodies with others. It'll really double the blessing for yourself and for them. So these are a few thoughts I just wanted to share with Aging Together's family, and hopefully there's something there to be taken away. And I appreciate, Alan, so much your invitation.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you so much. That was truly, truly inspirational. I think I can stop the share now. We can see people a little bit better, and I can see the chat. I see somebody put Calm and Headspace are good apps to download. I was going to say that as well. I have both of them on my phone, and they really are great, I have to say. Let's see. We will open it up now to questions that people may have. And if you're shy and you want to put a question in the chat, I'm happy to read it out for you. Or just go ahead. I invite you to unmute yourself and feel free to ask any questions of Reverend Schaefer.
Oh, Ellen, I wanted to suggest if you could put up slide 13 once more too. It had those great websites and people might want to write those down. That would be nice if you can get to it again.
Yeah. And are you able to see the chat, Ginny, that you could see if there's something in the chat? Because if I go to
yes,
the
oh, right. I'm watching the chat. Yes.
Okay, because if I go to the slides, I can't see the chat. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I think I've got it here. There you go.
Yes, I was writing it down and got about halfway down.
I think you made so many, really great points and so many tangible things that we can, do, practical things that we can do to help. I don't know, does anybody have any clarifying questions or comments to add? Maybe something you've tried that you have found helpful? Some of these techniques? Don't be shy now.
Well, while we're waiting for somebody else, this is John Ruckert. Tom, just wonderful. Just like being home again.
Very nice to see you, John.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Would you mind, there were two sites that you mentioned. One was called Calm, and before I could write the other one down, I forgot it. So what was the
Headspace.
Was it?
Headspace. It's one word.
Headspace. Okay.
Headspace.
Okay, thank you.
But they are phone apps, right? Not,
Yes, I think that's right. Thank you, Jenny.
right. They're not
Yes.
websites, I don't think.
Oh, they're
Apps. Can
For
you,
your
can
phone.
you get, Jenny, can you get them on your laptop?
I do not know. I bet you can.
I was thinking you
Or on
can.
a laptop. Well, you probably can. Yes.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
yeah. I'll start there. At least that'll give me something to work with. If not, I'll try some other resource.
Yeah.
There's another great one called Breathe for a phone app. It's BREETH, I think. Let me see. I've got that one.
Did you put that in the chat, Jenny?
Oh, I'm going to look it up on my phone to make sure I'm saying the right thing.
Yeah.
I think
And I
it's
think,
spelled. Go ahead.
you know, Reverend Schaefer, to your point about exercise, and I know you're right, you know, we all hear so much about that, but I know that there's actually something physical with the release of endorphins that happen with exercise.
Yes.
And again, just from my own personal experience, I know sometimes if I'm feeling a bit down, and when you're feeling down, you don't really feel like exercising, but if you can push yourself to do that, I know it can be really helpful. It can really change your mood.
Yes, absolutely. Helps you sleep better too.
Yes.
And Ellen, I just wanted to mention to everyone that you can always go to our website too at www.agingtogether.org. We've got a lot of different resources on there, a list of phone numbers, local, but also on some of the other tabs, we've got recorded exercise programs and activities that you can do, and just different ideas to help during the isolation time.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Jenny.
I would offer, when you do watch the news, and there's a lot of bad stuff on it all the time, but think about how much all that bad stuff can affect you directly. And most of it out there, very little of it will ever affect you directly. And so even though there's a lot of bad stuff, you don't necessarily need to worry about it.
That's a good point.
I appreciate the tangible, practical nature of your talk, Reverend Tom. Not a lot of airy-fairy stuff that's not grounded, but solid things to pass on to my clients. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
Ellen, I was wondering if people might be interested to see these, if I could somehow share it. But Capital Caring has a stack of these beautiful notes that if anyone has clients or members they'd like to share and have these nice little generic hello notes mailed to people, we would be happy to connect you with the person. Let me see if I can figure out how to share this. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, I think we might be able to send that out also on my email as well, if we can't share it here.
I'm not sure.
Any other comments or questions? And Jenny, is there anything in the chat?
No, ma'am. Not that I see. Oh, wait, here comes something. Whoopsie. This one is from Craig Wilt, and he says, if you or anyone you know is grieving the death of a family member or friend and they are struggling with the holidays, please know that Hospice of the Piedmont offers bereavement support services at no charge. And his contact number is 540-825-4840, or you can contact craig.wilt@hopva.org.
And that's in the chat.
Yes, it is, because they also have a healing grief and the holidays workshop coming up on Zoom on December 10th from 6 to 7.
Good to know. Very good to know.
And
Okay.
of course, Tom can be reached at Worthmore Counseling, Tom Schaefer at 540-972-3253. Love that name, worth more. We are all worth more
Right.
than we think we are.
Well, on behalf of Culpeper Baptist Church and Aging Together, we thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Reverend Tom. As I said, that was just extraordinary. Really, really practical, helpful tips for all of us to be able to use and to share with our clients. This has been recorded and will be available on the Aging Together website. If you need to refer back to it, or if you know somebody who missed it and would like to view it, they can do that through our website. It'll probably be up there by next week. So again, many thanks. Thanks to all for joining us. It's good to see so many faces, familiar faces. And Reverend Tom, thank you again so much.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you.
everyone, stay safe and have a happy holiday next week.
That's
Thank
right.
Thanks for
you.
joining us.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Excellent. Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Have a good afternoon.